My neighborhood uprising could have done me great harm, and I was ready to fight, locked and loaded to go to the public hearing. But my opposition fizzed out. The county administration granted me my special use permit without a public hearing. It was a victory for my new business, and it was a victory for my neighborhood and my town. My opposition actually helped legitimize my business as I pressed forward to comply with the code and regulations of my community. Now, I had my first victory in my belt, but my journey had just begun. I still had the government entities to deal with. Every glamping operation in every part of the country is different. Your situation is likely different than mine. You, as my student, will take some truth of my situation, adjust it to yours, and come out a success in the future on your private property. I live in unincorporated El Paso County in Colorado. My initial property is 6.5 acres, zoned rural residential 5 acres. RR5 in the county code. My property borders the town of Monument, so my governing authority is not the town of Monument, but rather the county. I have several freedoms in developing my land, which are listed as allowed uses. A glamping operation is considered a special use, defined as a recreation camp in the code. I ended up dealing with 5 government agencies: the county sheriff's department, the regional building department, 2 health departments, state and county, and the county zoning department. And here's how it went down with each. First, the sheriff's deputy showed up at my property. He analyzed the situation from the complaint from the neighbor and found that I was doing nothing illegal. His visit was short and sweet. He quickly schooled my neighbor, and I thought the conflict was over. Bam, easy victory for glamping. The state health department came in a form of a letter informing me that my septic tank was built for residential, not commercial. I called this officer right away and talked through what was needed to upgrade to a commercial system. He advised me to work with the county, and if the county found my system to be adequate, the state would find it. Swoosh, another victory for glamping. County Health Department paid me a visit. The officer gave me very sound advice on how to move toward compliance with the health standards of the county and state. He explained that I was in violation of some codes, especially when I was hooking into the septic of my neighbors. But he didn't issue me a fine or a stop order. He even joked, at least you're not dumping it all into the creek. I think he was comparing me with other cases he's probably written up. So he's pretty lenient on me. This was a decent win for me, but one that did eventually include a very expensive septic tank engineered for my required use. The building department also paid me a visit. He had arrived the very same day I had hired a lawyer from Denver to come help me get me to compliance. It really was perfect timing. I had suspected I was out of code or in violation of some sort, so really the lawyer was trying to help me along. On the spot, the building department officer gave me a cease build order, and he sort of chuckled when he issued it. I know you already have it built, but you need to bring it up to code, is what he said. This was a win much like the health department. Both officers helped guide me to compliance, paving the way to proper permits and engineering. Now, the zoning department sent me a letter with a direct threat to shut me down, eventually. I learned that these departments are not in the business of shutting you down. In fact, they don't really want to. There really is a long and detailed process if you ever get that far. I quickly became a student of the county code and the allowed and special uses of my property. I spoke with this officer on the phone at length, and he advised me to start the application and get my permit. Dealing with these entities took a ton of time and effort on my part, but in the end, it legitimized my business and helped me launch into the glamping world. The permit alone cost me $4,238.50, and that was just the piece of paper. Added costs include septic engineering, traffic studies, mineral rights reports, site plans, utility upgrades, well permits, and more. Ultimately, the special use process cost well over $25,000. Does that sound like too much to you? Perhaps. But take another look at my earnings. I was pulling in over $100,000 per year before having to pull back and focus on permitting. Would I take out a $25,000 loan to make $100,000 a year? Yeah, it became the perfect investment. 2022 was a huge learning curve. But 2023, I was loud and proud. I got very involved in the Chamber of Commerce, and newspapers and magazines started calling me up and wanting to do stories about monument glamping. We booked out most of our 5th season, and now this class is being released early 2024, and my 2023 numbers are in. I made $244,000 in earnings. Now, we've grown quite a bit from season 4 to season 5. Let me explain to you where we're at today in our monument glamping operation. I own 2 properties with a total of 12 units. My first property is still permitted for those 8 units. We have 4 safari tents, 2 bell tents, a tiny home, and a container home. My second property is on the other side of town, and it is being developed as I speak. We have 4 units on the property, and they're all container homes. My son, Micah, remember the welder? He and his wife is a TikTok star who does ice baths, live on the property. The property is filled with beautiful pine trees, and we are in the works of building 24 units on that piece of property, and that has no community opposition. So 2 properties, 12 units, soon to be 32 units is in our future. I'm still dealing with some community opposition. In fact, I'm in the middle of, right now during this class, an adjustment to my original special use to allow more creative units on the property rather than just tents. It goes to show there are always obstacles that will come your way as you run your glamping operation. To some, I'm way ahead of the pack in the glamping world, but I see my journey as just the beginning. I'm learning things new every single day. So part of me thinks, who am I to tell anybody how to do it? I'm telling you all of this because I hope you avoid the same mistakes that I have made. And I hope you become a much better glamper than I have been. There really is plenty of room in the real estate space. Quite honestly, I hope you're just as successful as I am. Even more so. That's my curse, honestly. I can't help myself. If I didn't help others on their journey, I would be suppressing my true identity as a teacher. Remember, I came from 30 years of teaching and publishing in the education world. And 8 weeks to launch is helping you launch successfully into the glamping world.